Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution. Today we have a guest who needs no introduction.
Don't you get down.
Who also just happens to be a speaker at this year's Top Dog event. We have Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman.
And we're stirring them up, and they're going to get so mad. Get the out of here! That they're going to turn him in.
Dwayne Lee Chapman, also known as Dog the Bounty Hunter, is an American television personality known for popular TV programs following his life and adventures as a bounty hunter.
The bottom line is we all had fun. Even the fugitive had a great time.
Dog is deeply involved in crime fighting, advocating for tough legislation to curb crime, and launching several media ventures, including a new TV show and podcast.
I don't mind the name calling and stuff. It's okay because we needed excitement, but I don't want you to carry that inside. Oh, no. All right.
Looks like he's won him over.
Dog is a New York Times best-selling author. He also has a new book coming out in 2023. And additionally, he operates a ministry, Light Up the Darkness, with his wife, Francie, whom he married in 2021. So now let's get ready and give a warm welcome to Dog the Bounty Hunter on Service Drive Revolution. I have the nickname Bulldog, and I got the nickname because in business, I would grab onto things and I wouldn't let go until it got done. I was curious, how did you get the nickname Dog?
Well, I was 15 years old and I was a member of the Devil's Disciple 1%er Motorcycle Club. So after I got my patch, the president nicknames all the members. So when I would ride with them and they'd flip the bird to God, I would back off and say, no, I'm not doing that. Or I always said the blessing, because some of the stuff they ate was terrible. And so we had a guy named John the Baptist who always rode his Harley of water. And we had some nut that was called the Preacher. So the president of my club said, you're always loyal. I always showed up for a fight or whenever there was problems. You're kind of like man's best friend and you always talk about God. So I'm going to name you Dog, which is God spelled backwards.
Oh, wow. So it's God spelled backwards. That's powerful. How did you feel about that at such a young age? Did that kind of give you a little more confidence, or how do you process that at that age?
Well, I was 15 and, the brothers first started calling me Puppy. My name's Dog and we christened you Dog. And then they were like, some of the members would say, come here, Puppy. I didn't like that part, but the dog part was okay with me. I never thought there was anything wrong with it.
Did you eventually start introducing yourself to people as Dog?
Oh yeah, when you're at least that club, when you're riding in a club like that, your name is gone. Even I went on to a few years later, went to Texas prison in '76, and everybody called me Dog. No one ever called me by my name. And I was teased by my name when I was at school, Dwayne the Bathtub, I'm Dwoundy. So to be called something else, I like that.
Yeah.
So the only one that really calls me Dwayne now is my wife, Francie.
Now, does she only call you Dwayne when you're in trouble, or just that's the name she has for you?
She calls me Dog when I'm in trouble.
So that's the reverse of what I would have thought.
Yes. To get my attention. Dog? Oh, what?
You're like, oh, here we go. That's funny. So the thing, Dog, that, is fascinating to me is that, you've had an incredible life experience and, all of your challenges and jail and Tony Robbins and all that stuff. But the thing that really fascinates me is how you are elite at bounty hunting, in the sense that you have a system and a mindset and an approach to it that is, it's got to be the top 5% or maybe even higher, but you're very accomplished at that. And I'm just curious about your system and the mindset in your approach. And so, like, if you decide on a target that you're going to go after someone, what is the process and what are the first things that you think about, and what are the steps that you go through in order to create the outcome that you create?
Okay, not to, let's say, talk about myself, but let's start at the 5%. So I started bounty hunting in 1979, and there were two bounty hunters in America, Papa Thorn and Dog the Bounty Hunter. Since that date, I've arrested over 10,000 fugitives, men and women. I've shot about 1,500 with tasers, non-lethal weapons. I've arrested from raping a baby to murder one, his own mother. So there is no bounty hunter at all even close to me. The best one they got's maybe 3,000. And my son Leland is probably half of what I've got. So second in line would be Leland. There's 6,500 bounty hunters in the United States. The reason there were only two is because I started going after the top FBI agents when I got out of prison, or the top 10 from the FBI service, and I arrested one, and they gave you 10 grand, and the FBI stepped in and said, "Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm a bounty hunter. I'm going after these guys are 10 grand a piece. And so they assigned me a federal agent by the name of Keith R. Paul. And I went to school in Blackwater. I went to school with the feds. And they said, during my training, I had to meet him once a week. And we went over what warrants I had, what happened the last week. Show me your body receipts. A body receipt is proof that you caught the guy. So I constantly for years was trained by Keith Paul. I used non-lethal weapons that, they provided me with, from wax to a ball with, two balls with a rope in the middle. Nothing has ever worked. Mace was okay. And the sheriff started getting mad when I bring a guy in all soaked because their jail smelled like it. So then Colorado SWAT lieutenant trained I and the family with the pepper ball gun, which is, it's 4 or 5 times stronger than a paintball pistol. A pepper ball gun will knock you on your knees. So mine is fully automatic, 7 shots a second. You don't have to kill anyone unless, you're coming out of, somebody's got a gun to a hostage's head coming out of the bank. I've shot guys with guns. I've shot guys that drew on me. I've shot guys that try to stab me, machete, Never had to kill anyone. So I'm really glad that I was not maybe necessarily a convicted felon, but because of being a convicted felon, I could get probably a pardon, but who cares about that? But that kept me from owning a firearm. So Tony Robbins in 81, I started working with the feds and working these guys, and the feds came to me and said, "Listen, these bail bondsmen, Abraham Lincoln in 1851 or something like that, 1800, signed a law when they made bail bonds a part of our country that the bail bondsman may hire an agent to go out and get his runaways, his skips, his jumps." So the FBI introduced me to first George Lucero out of Denver, Colorado. And George had about 200 jumps. Now, prior to me coming into business, if you co-signed a bail bond for someone and they didn't show up, the bondsman took your house, your car, your money, whatever it was. The courts they'd send a letter to the bondsman and say, "Dear bail bondsman, John Doe did not show up. You got 90 days to bring his body in or pay 10 grand. So there weren't any bounty hunters, and the feds, led me to that. So I started getting all the bail bondsmen's jumps from all over the country. Then in 81, Tony Robbins wrote the book, Awaken the Giant Within. And in that book, about a paragraph and a half, he dedicated to me. And I had arrested 1,000 people by then. And he was very impressed that I did that. Martin Sheen, the actor, I would speak at Tony Robbins, a guest speaker, and Tony made me go through the 10-day deal, the 10-day awaken yourself or something. And Martin Sheen, I met him and he started saying, man, you need a TV show. I cannot believe that you do this every day. And then I met Ozzy and Sharon is a very good, I would say, manager for the whole family. And I did a couple appearances on, in the late 80s on the Ozzy Osbourne show. And they got good ratings and said, who is that crazy looking guy you call dog? So, and then I, started doing TV shows in about 89, 90 with Dominic Dunn. I did the Secret Life of Bounty Hunters, and then A&E came to the plate. There's no man that I can't catch or woman. And my secret is I pray and ask God to show me where they're at. Now, he doesn't show me them sitting in a chair or smoking a joint, in front of 7-Eleven. But he'll go, I'll pray and say, God, come on, I got to have a lead. And a thought of the mother will come in, or a girlfriend will come in, or a thought will come in my mind, and I go, let's go over there right now. Let's check. We checked the mom 3 times. Let's check it again. And A&E always, we did A&E, CMT, and WGN. A&E, after 8 seasons, said, listen, you've only got so many days to catch a perp because there's so much money allocated per show in the season. So I had about a week to catch all of them. And then they would say, what they did say, it took me 10 days to catch one guy, a gangbanger leader in Pueblo, Colorado. And they said, listen, we don't have this yet. Let's just call this the one that got away. And because you've caught them all. I said, you ain't going to do that. You're not going to do that. Give me 2 more days. It was 8 days ago. Okay, we're over budget now. I go, then make it 2-hour show. Make it a special. Well, if you catch him, that's exactly what we'll do. Thank God on the 10th day we caught him. So my secret is asking God, looking at visions, standing right where the guy stood before, sitting in his car, all that stuff put together, and then going on, the FBI told me it's not God, it's a hunch. So I believe it's God. But one day we did a show and it was 7 days. And my son said, Dad, we forgot to say the prayer. And because every show has a prayer in Jesus' name, amen. So we said the prayer and I said, Lord, come Thursday morning or come Thursday night, you're going to look pretty stupid because I'm asking you to help me find this guy. And it's no longer my fault, God. I'm dependent on you. In Jesus' name, amen. An hour later, we were driving down Waikiki, and in the crosswalk, he walked across the street in front of us. And of course, we jumped him and took him to jail. So my faith in that particular part of my life is humongous. And I know for sure if I'm living my life right, and I'm turning down all the temptations that Dog the Bounty Hunter, because you're in Hollywood, that you get, that God is going to bless me. And I keep temptations, a list of them kind of in my mind day after day. And then I go, God, I could have done that. I could have done that. I didn't do that. I didn't do none of that. I used to do that when I was young, but I don't do it no more, Lord, because I love you. So I need a favor. I need a blessing. And that's how I balance my blessings, is bring the things up to God that I could have done. But because if I'm supposed to be some kind of Christian, you can't do those things. And the Bible says that it's common to man to be tempted from all things, every single thing. It's just a common man denominator. And so it's not, everybody gets tempted. I always think I get tempted the worst because, I'm from Hollywood. Everybody, likes to either date a Hollywood guy or blah, blah, blah. So I constantly tell God, okay, I did this, I did that. I could have done that. I had a problem years ago about looking at sexy girls that looked, outstanding. And so I told God, I got to quit staring. I I guess that's lusting. You're like, ooh, mama, you should looking good. I said, Lord, what do I do when they're there? And he said, turn your head, dummy. And so I turned my head. I still see it. And I'm like, whoa, turn my head. Because it's common to man to do that. So, I think that that's a big secret of my success.
Are pretty ladies the hardest one, the biggest temptation? Is that the one you're referencing to God the most?
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Or maybe even some ugly ones.
yeah. And so in that process, dog, like so say you land on a target, you're gonna hunt this person down. In order to go through that prayer, in that process of trying to put yourself in that moment, do you have to be alone? How do you spend an hour kind of praying and thinking about it, or how long is that process? And are there kind of rules around it that you're alone when you do it, or I don't know.
Well, my Francie is my new wife for 1 year, as tells me, go in there and ask God. Go in alone. Go. Sometimes I'm in a car. Well, when we're hunting and all the kids are there, people are there, and I'll be like, you guys shut up. I need a minute. Okay, read that file out loud to me, Leland, again. Dad, I've read it 3 times. Read it again. And then I'll go into prayer, but you can't pull over on the road because you got a crew following you and camera guys and EMTs and all that, right? Medical, blah, blah, blah. So I usually do it on the fly. But Francie has said to me, looking for guys, because she's helping me once in a while. We're still bounty hunting. And she'll say, go get along with the Lord, find this guy. So it's either or. You don't have to be all alone and music going and in the spirit. You got to be able to get in the spirit in a moment's bam, And I told the Lord years ago, before I got out of prison, I said, I'll tell you what, right now, I will live the life that my mother wanted me to as an Assembly of God person. Because I was raised Assembly of God all the way. And I said, but I wanted, Lord, I want these conditions. Every single person I meet is because you brought them to me. Every single person I talk to, I'm a name dropper, and I'll try to drop your name in some kind of way. Everybody. But the ones that you want and to talk to, because I plant the seed, then let God do the growing, right? That's biblical. So I say, I want you to do that. So when I made a deal with God, I got out of prison in 1979, February. And from that moment till now, everybody I meet, I try to drop Jesus' name. And when I'm hunting the guy, I go, listen, Lord, you're the one gave me this warrant. You could have given it to Billy Bob, or you could have given it to John Joe, but you gave it to me. So you got to help me find this guy, because there's something about it. Thousands that I capture have said to me, I knew you were going to do it. I had a dream that I would be sitting in the back of this car. I have had guys say, listen, man, I need you so bad, dog. I need the backseat ride, brother. And I give them the backseat ride, because God then speaks to me and says, okay, girls, like, your daddy raped you, right? Yes. Okay, let me get you through that. Or guys that be like, your wife left you. You're in love, right? You just can't take it. Yes, dog. Our hearts as men hurt as bad as women's heart. But a lot of men don't want to admit that. So while I'm talking, I ask God, give me what you like me say. Give me what you want me to do to this guy to light him up. And then only one guy has ever told me, I don't want to hear nothing. F God. I don't want to hear none of your crap. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, good. I'm glad. Gary Boy is my youngest son. I said, Gary, you take this scum right here. I don't ever want to see it. If he tries to run, Gary's now a sheriff in Alabama. He's 21. And Gary had non-lethal weapons. I had a nice taser, that shoots out the arrows. I said, Gary, if he moves, If he tries to run, I want you to blast him right in the back of the head. And I want him down on the ground. So Gary put the taser at him and told him, let's go. He tried to kind of like, he said, if I wanted to, I could get out of these cuffs. I go Houdini. Go ahead, get out of them because Gary will blast you. And it was a military guy. When I kicked his door in, heroin was laying all over the table, needles everywhere. And it was a military holiday. I forget which one. I think there's only one a year that we caught him on. And Gary went in the front door. I went around the back and he ran right into my arms. So that's the only guy that has ever, because I say, you want me to talk to you, or you just want to write a jail and we'll shut up, turn up the music. No one's, at first they'll, some will go, yeah, just turn the music on. And then I put on rock and roll. I don't put on Billy Graham. I don't want to disrespect them. And then halfway there, they'll go, dog, I'd like you to talk to me. What do you got to say to me? So not only just the bounty hunting that God has given me to find the devil's herd, but the words to say to these guys. The other day, I got a call from a guy named Bosco, twice your size. And it took 3 of us to take Bosco down. And it's been 4 years, and Bosco called me up and said, dog. Yeah, Bosco, what's up? I'm going to whoop you, bro. I see you. And I said, why? Oh, brother, you ruined my life for crime, brother dog. What do you mean, Bosco? Bro, I eat one, I smoke a joint. I didn't do no meth. I eat a Twinkie, which is not a real Twinkie like we know. And I make love my wife. I sleep every night now, brother dog. I said, well, good, Bosco. Brother dog, you know what I say? What, Bosco? Brother dog, I love you. It's Bosco, I love you too, brother. So you get those kind of calls, not just from Bosco, but from, we arrested, I just talked to her yesterday, the golfer, Tiger Woods' girlfriend. She weighed 98 pounds and man, the cuffs would not fit her. They fell off her wrist. Cops looked for her for 7 months. They couldn't find her. And I did the God thing. Where's she at? Vegas. Went there 7 days later, I popped her. She's written a book now. She's teaching at a rehab. She sent me yesterday. She was on Vanity Fair. She's beautiful. She weighed 90 pounds, dying. And she sent me a picture. I'm like, good Lord. She's standing next to a new car and it says, dog, I would have never had all this if it wouldn't have been for you guys catching me. So there's so many stories of redemption from my people and gone straight that it keeps me going. Now there's times when one guy arrested last year, he was a heroin addict. I said, how's it feel on the bottom? Yeah, I go, you feel them rocks? Feels good, don't it? You want a mirror? You want to talk to your mother? Yes, well, you're not. How you feeling, buddy? I feel terrible. I go and tell you right now, that is the only drug that you can die from quitting. That is the only drug that will kill you deader than dead. You can OD on speed, you can die on speed and all the other stuff, but heroin, you're done. His friend, another bondsman, I try to tell the bondsman, leave him in jail for a few days before you get him out, let him dry out. And most bondsmen are crooked as a barrel of snakes. So they got him right out. All they looked at was the money. The next day, his mother called me and said, dog, did you hear about my son? I go, yeah, I put him in jail. No, so-and-so bail company got him out. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And this morning, dog, they called me. He had died of a drug overdose. And she said, the only thing that I have is, did you do the show with him? I go, yes, I did. He told me that. Will you please send me the show? So when the show came out, she watched it and recorded. I didn't have to send it to her. And she called me. She goes, that's all I have of my baby is that show. Did he really say he quit? I go, yep. And he really meant it for a minute. Dog, I'm done, man. I'm going to go in jail and kick this. I'm going to poop all over myself. I'm going to pee all over the jail. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. And, we made some phone calls and some bail bondsman who doesn't care about nothing, got him out of jail, and he died. So there's not too many stories like that, but there's a few, but mostly it's success stories.
The thing about watching the show that is beautiful to me in a way, and I would compare it to Mike Tyson in the sense that you would see Mike Tyson before a fight, very focused. The fight would start and he would usually knock somebody out, early Tyson. He would knock them out. But once he knocked them out, there was this empathy that kicked in, and he would go to check to see if the person was okay. And it's the same thing in the sense that you're very focused on the target, but when you catch them, there's this empathy that happens, and I would believe that it's for a bunch of different reasons. One would be your belief in God. The other would be that you've been there, you've been to jail, and you understand the situation, and then probably just the fact that you care and you have a lot of empathy. But that moment when you catch them and the way that you flip, it's a beautiful thing. It's a juxtaposition that's unexpected, but it's beautiful the way that you treat them, the empathy that you show. And a lot of times the people that you're catching are kind of people that you would think are, the forgotten or the undesirable. And you have this way of treating them like, you're important and you're a person, and this is a moment, but this doesn't have to define you, I guess, is kind of what I take away from it. But it's beautiful.
So I was in prison in 1977 or 8. It's, I don't want to quote it on that. And I fell on a first-degree murder charge. 5 years I got. 4 disciples and a sister pulled up to a house. My brother went into the house, got into a squabble. The guy grabbed the gun. He shot him in the shoulder. The guy died the next day. None of us ever saw the shot. None of us went in the house. We heard the shot. Texas convicted all of us because we were, scumbag bikers. So I'm in prison about a year. I get 5 years and a day. And I get charged with shooting a police officer in Borger, Texas. Burglary of an armory. And when the cops came into the armory, who did it opened up on the cops and shot him in the shoulder or the arm. So they come grab me, and they put me under arrest in prison. All my guard friends were so disappointed. Man, you shot a cop. Now you're done. And I told them, I didn't do that. I've not even been to the armory. So this cop picked me up, and he's like, man, I told him my story, how I went to prison, where I was not even in Texas when they did the armory. I was in Colorado visiting my parents on my bike. And the cop's like, wow, you want a cheeseburger? And I'm like, oh, man, it's been over a year since I had a cheeseburger. Because I'm going to tell you right now, see this 38 pistol? I said, yes, sir. I'm going to take them cuffs off you. We're going to go on McDonald's. I don't think they had drive-thrus then. And he said, if you move, I'm shooting you right in the back. I go, please, I will not run. I remember going in there, and it was a girl behind the counter, and I could smell her perfume, and I started crying. I'm like, oh my God, right? So he ordered me 3 cheeseburgers and a Coke. I never had a Coke in a year. Got in the car, I scarfed him down, and he goes, I don't need to put these cuffs back on, do I, in this body iron? No, boss. No, sir, I said. So he drove me to Texas. 2 guys, David and Earl Kerr, did rob the armory. The sheriff, Ruth Jordan, came in there. This guy came to visit, and he was a country western singer. Trailers for sale or rent. And he came to visit us in Bob Wills, and he sang outside the Borger, Texas jails. Came in the cell, rooms to rent, 50 cents. And later on in life, he became very famous. And the sheriff asked me what happened. I said, I didn't do that. So the sheriff goes, I'm going to put a mic in your cell. We're going to put Earl Kerr across from you, and I'm going to record what he tells you. So they brought Earl in. He got busted for the army robbery. Put him in a cross. I couldn't see him, but I could talk. I go, Earl, why did you say I was there? Well, you already got a murder case, man. I'm just spreading a little time. I go, listen, you're not a disciple, and I was not. Why do you say this? Why did you say? And why did you have me out there looking for? He tricked me to go in this lake looking for something. And then they took casts of my feet in the mud where some of the armory guns were at. He set me up. And so he laughed and said, man, you already got it murdered. Don't worry about it. They'll run it concurrent. And I said, no, that ain't going to happen. So the sheriff, the next day, they used a little radio and put it on a certain 88.5 or something, and you could hear. They didn't have back then, they couldn't wire you. And so the sheriff brought me downstairs and goes, oh my God, you didn't do that. I said, no, call my warden right now. Tell my warden where I'm at. I was warden's barber, that I didn't do this. I told him I didn't do it. All right, what's his name? Curly Horton, I said. So went back upstairs. They called the warden, said, we're sending dog back. He didn't do this. And he wanted me to call you, right? So same cop picked me up to drive me home to prison. In the back seat of his car was his son that he was taking to college. And the guy treated me like a human being. Now, my father, I later found out a couple years ago, was my stepfather. I thought he was my dad all along. He is my dad, but physically really beat me bad. Pull your pants down, 20, 30, 18 whacks, bruised from my knee all the way to my butt. I couldn't even shower at school. This man beat me, right? So I know that's why I ran away at 14 and I started doing all this stuff. This cop treated me with so much respect and said to me, you know what, man, I'm telling you right now, buddy, the way you are, you're going to be something, young man. Get away from this biker stuff. Ride a Honda, he said. Matter of fact, don't even get on another motorcycle. I haven't since 1979. He said, don't even get on another motorcycle in your life. Get out of that. There's blah, blah, blah. When he said that, I went back to prison. Everybody was, yay, dog. All the guards were proud I didn't do it. I remained warden's barber. The head warden came to see me one day because I had a reputation. I was the best barber in the country. I knew how to cut hair, right? So Warden Jacka sits down and says, what are you in here for? A nickel for murder one. You shot the man sleeping with your wife? I said, no, Warden. Here's what happened. So I told him the story, what I just told you, only in more detail. He goes, okay. I said, you like your haircut? He goes, I really like it. Looks nice. Be seeing you soon. And I thought, wow, he's coming back to get a haircut again. Went into my cell. Here come the goon squad, arrested me for lying to the head warden. So next day you get court. They throw you just like Cool Hand Luke in a cell like that, naked it's terrible. So I'm in there. They give you clothes. They got court. I went in there. The sheriff or the warden Jacka said, Mr. Dog Chapman. I said, yes, sir. And I was sitting at the posture that was perfect for him. He said, your posture looks good. I said, thank you. Thank you, warden. Well, I have to call Sheriff Roof Jordan. He'd been a sheriff there 48 years in Gray County, Pampa, Texas. I said, yes, sir. And I knew his father, the old man, one-arm Roof Jordan. He whooped them old riggers and all that. I knew that man. That's a hell of a man. I said, yes, sir. I heard the stories. I asked Roof Jordan, why are you in here? What happened? My God, he told me the exact same story that you did. He said, I'm sorry, I would cry. He said, that guy needs stopped. He's a dang good guy. He needed stopped, and there was nowhere I could do with him. I had to put him down. And the warden said, I'm going to tell you right now, son, your birthday's February 2nd. This was like the end of January. He said, I wish I could give it to you on your birthday. I thought I was getting a visit, right, or something. He said, but I'm going to tell you what, how the dominoes fell February the 6th, 1979, this here year. You walking out at TDC, son. And I expect you to do something that no other Texas Department of Correction inmate has ever done in his life. Do you understand me? Yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir, warden. I mean, yes, sir, I will. Yes, sir. Early in the morning, 8:30, they woke me up, gave me a $200 check and said, go, see ya. In the meantime, I'm dog disciple in prison, and my barber shop is outside the guard's barber shop, the prison gate. Well, across from that is the hole where they put you in. So I befriended some guys when I got in there, big guys. And my black friend, his name was Bigfoot. He had a size 18 to 20 Brogan boot. Huge. And one day we was walking the hallway. He goes, dog, how you spell was? And I said, W-E-Z. He goes, thank you. And I said, Bigfoot, what are you doing? He said, I'm writing my mom a letter. I go, let me see that letter. Let me see that. And so I fixed the letter up. I go, why are you can't spell street? What grade did you go to? I went to 4th grade. I go, what? Why only the 4th grade? There was a ferry, he said, that had to cross the river every day, and it cost a nickel for the white man to take us across. And you know, dog, sometimes mama only had 3 cents. What happened? He goes, I didn't go there. This guy could not spell grown man. So I fixed the letter, and he goes, you know, I don't have no money in my commissary. What can I do for you? And I go, Bigfoot, anybody mess with me, I want you to break him in half. You got it. They called us salt and pepper. Everywhere I went, he was there. So I became warden's, I was inmate counselor. When their mothers died or something, I would go into the hole and talk to them. I got all the brunt of everything going on. So they didn't tell me that Bigfoot's auntie, his mother, something died. They're bringing him in the hole early in the morning. I look out the window of the barbershop. I'm free to roam around inside there. I see Lieutenant Espinosa come out backwards and hit the ground. And I'm like, oh my God. And out that door, Bigfoot came running. And he's running down the highway, and he didn't run like a deer. He ran like, I guess you might say, a giraffe. He ran so terrible, and I could hear the 30-30 rifles cocking from the guard towers. Them guards yelling, freeze! My shoe shine guy was Ronnie Coleman. He shined the shoes. I cut the guard's hair. I said, Ronnie, they're going to kill Bigfoot. And he turned around and goes, I know, man, his mama died, his auntie or something. I go, oh my God. All of a sudden, I take out running after him. Now, in my book, You Can Run, But You Can't Hide, Disney did the book. They cut out 2 of the 3 angels. They had to call the guard. They had to look it up. They wouldn't print it. They go, dog, the guard lieutenant said he's exactly what happened. So I took out running after Bigfoot. I had no idea there was a lieutenant that ran behind me with a 38 and pulled the gun up to shoot me in the middle of the back. And I grabbed Bigfoot by the pants, and down he went. Boom. And down I went. And this lieutenant, all of a sudden, I look over, and he throws these black handcuffs in the dust and says these magic words, hook him up, bounty hunter. And I said, Lieutenant, I can't hook him up. Well, I'm gonna. He saved his life. Yes, sir, LT, I know. So the warden, word got boom around the prison quick. So the warden called me into his office, said, well, we got to transfer you, and you're the best dang barber I've ever had. Why? I said, because you ran down a black man. They're going to kill you. I go, no, they're not. I saved his life, Warden. Warden said these words: if you're alive in the morning, you can stay on my farm. If you're dead, we'll put you up there on Boot Hill. So I'm sitting there watching television the same night, and the Muslims come to me. And Ronnie Coleman is black, is sitting right next to me. And the Muslims are like, you ran down and blah, 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 blah. I go, Ronnie goes, hey, you know how Salt and Pepper is. You know he loved you. Bigfoot loves dog. Dog saved his life. And this this Muslim guy said, man, what you doing saving and blah, blah, blah. I go, I don't give a dang. I'm half Apache. You just from a darker tribe. I don't care where you're from. You still bleed the same blood. Well, they can't transfer my blood to you. I go, who told you that? Yes, they can. They don't say, is this black blood or white blood? What you can get maybe is sickle cell anemia that I can't get. They don't do that, you guys. Where were you raised at? Of course, Texas, right? So, okay, dog. They went, sat down. We all watched television. In the morning when I woke up, the warden, first of all, I look out my cell. There's stamps. There's paper envelopes. There's roll your own cigarettes. There's no rake up Bible. So the warden calls Barbara in the hall. I got to go see the warden at 6:30. Tells me, let me tell you something, dog. Them inmates done left you a love offering, son. Yes, sir, warden. But tell you something, boy, your bread is buttered in here. And they all calling you Dog the Bounty Hunter now. And my favorite show in the world was The Lone Ranger and Steve McQueen's Wanted Dead or Alive. I was raised on those shows. And of course, Steve McQueen and The Lone Ranger were bounty hunters. And Steve McQueen had a past. But I was thinking, what am I going to do? How do you date a girl when you say to the dad, hi, my name's Dog, I've been convicted of murder, but I didn't do it? I did it once to a gypsy girl, and the dad told me, if I even see you, I'm killing you. Don't you dare come near my daughter. How do you rent an apartment? Ever been convicted of a felony? Yeah, murder, but I didn't do it. You know what I put? We'll discuss. So I was like, God, how am I going to get out of this X on my back so bad? God said, because you're going to be Dog the Bounty Hunter. So February about the 18th, I went to the post office and got all the top 10 guys. And the 23rd, I caught my first one. Walked into the FBI office on Stout Street in Denver, Colorado. I walk in there, I pin the warrant on this guy in the front with a diaper pin. Take him in with my mom, he's cuffed. I tell the Fed at the desk, hi, I'm Dog the Bounty Hunter. This is my mother, Mrs. Chapman. This is so-and-so, there's his name. It says here 10 grand. How do I get my money, officer? Hold on, let me go get someone. So High Muckamucka lieutenant comes out and goes, hi, how you doing, buddy? And of course I ordered my badge in the comic book. I got my handcuffs after I had my badge. I went to a police supply store and acted like an undercover cop with long hair. How you doing? I go, good, man. How's it going out there? I said, oh, they're getting crazy. So I bought all kind of police supply equipment, right? I got my badge and all my stuff, right? And walked in the post office, seen the postmaster general. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm a bounty hunter, sir. I badged him, right? Oh, really? I go, yep. I didn't know there was any. I go, ain't too many, but I'm the good one. Gave me all the warrants, and that's how I started bounty hunting. And then Tony Robbins, and then Martin Sheen, and then the TV show, and then my Francie. And I mean, I've lost my mommy. My oldest daughter, I had 5 sons, and I had a little girl. And she died at 23. It was terrible. My Bethy died almost 4 years ago. I've had some stuff, but overall, I am the most blessed person you have ever met in your life. To start out like that, and I didn't have a great education, but I do now, but to start off like that, and so when I tell these guys, you know who I am? Yeah, you're Dog. No, I wasn't always Dog. I was Dog Disciple. You know, I've been in prison for murder. No. I go, yeah, I have. You know what I did, man? I completely changed my life. I started hanging around people that I wanted to become like. Tony Robbins introduced me to all these people that, you know, when I met people, I told this guy once I met him, yeah, my dad beat me. How many times your dad beat you? And the guy's like, you know, I think my dad maybe spanked me once. I was like, once? Because I thought it was made, you were made to be beaten by your daddy. You know, and I just completely changed. Not that I put plan A through Z together, but as things, I started pretending to be a good guy. And that pretending took my spirit over. And then God said, I am well pleased with you, my son dog. Go. And here I am today.
I really appreciate this, Dwayne. We can't wait to see you. It's gonna be a great event, and we're honored to have you. And you're so sweet, and like I said, a huge inspiration. So, thank you for doing what you do and taking this time. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Job Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.